hypnotized by you. Hey, all the suffering and pain got me feeling so blue. Cause when it was us, I was never enough. Girl, you got me thinking I was messed up, pushing me down instead of pulling me up. So tell me what I'm supposed to do just to be alright. Girl, you got me thinking I was messed up, yeah.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. James Hicks here from Hicks New Media, and welcome to H&M Live. November the 3rd, Wednesday here. Been sitting behind the scenes talking to the man I got in the green room, and I can tell you right now it's going to be a fantastic conversation. So let's go ahead and get into it. Walter Strong the third, ladies and gentlemen. He's an online coach. He's a video consultant, and he focuses on helping content creators broaden their reach, impact, and income through online video. He's also a purpose coach who helps men and women to find their passion and purpose in life. I love that, and we're going to dive into that because I want to get some clarity in terms of how he delineates and differentiates between kind of his goals. He's got a YouTube show called The Huddle, which airs every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're definitely going to want to check that out. He's got some fantastic topics and some fantastic guests that I've seen him have on his show, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Walter Strong, how you living, brother?
Good evening, sir. How we doing, man? I am humbled. I'm
Watch out
honored
now.
to be on HMN Live.
Brother, we in the building, right? We in the building. We got some
sir.
folks jumping in right here. Side Hustle Inspiration. Good to see you. Appreciate you. Walter, I tell you what, man, I want to be cognizant of your time because I know you've got some other things on the calendar tonight. You're a very busy man, but I gave kind of the elevator pitch. But if you can tell folks in your own words who it is that you are and what it is that you do.
Appreciate the honor. Hey, first of all, I am a servant of God. I feel it's important to be a servant of God, a great husband, a faithful father, and a devoted son. All those other titles just come along with it, with the carriage. But yes, I am an online coach, video consultant, YouTube content entrepreneur. The goal is to help as many people who want to be in content creation to find their passion and purpose on YouTube as well as in life. And so YouTube is just the vehicle in which we use. Content creation is just the vehicle which we use, but we keep the brand consistent, the message consistent to make an impact, to allow you to be able to have influence and grow your income through online video.
I love that. Let's go into that because you touched on, again, some of what I talked about during the opening and kind of that differentiation between that online coach and the purpose coach. Talk to us a little bit about that focus that you have and how you came about deciding that these were the things that I wanted to focus on and that I wanted to give back to society and to my community and things of that.
Sure. Let's start with the latter first, purpose coach. I'm a strong believer that if you don't understand the purpose of your life, if you don't understand the purpose of a thing, you're going to abuse yourself. You're going to abuse that what God has gifted you with. And so being a purpose coach, or some would say life coach, or destiny coach, whatever your title you want to use, but purpose coach is just speaking directly to you as the individual. Because you are an Apple Mac person, I think what really resonates with you is you understand the brand, but you understand the purpose on which Apple has given you those tools to use. So You're not going to use them or abuse them in a way that's not going to truly serve you as a content creator. I believe if you do have an issue with it, you know who to go to for that issue, which is Apple, the manufacturer.
Right.
Well, let me just put it out their way. No offense, no disrespect to anyone's other faith or religion. Hey, I know the manufacturer is God Almighty. So if I
Watch
want
out
to
now.
understand what my purpose is in life, I have to go back to the Word of God, which some would say the basic information before leaving Earth. And the Word of God is going to reveal to me or you, or to those of you listening this evening, is going to teach you and show you what your purpose is in life. And then it gives you. So Purpose Coach, I think, is the most important piece of the gifting that I had. The online coach part, because we're living now in a new media and an age where it's either remote through live stream, through virtual meetings, through different other tools of online. We're seeing more and more people are now getting into this. Businesses, faith-based communities, they are all starting to gravitate what we do every week, whether it's Thursday or Saturday morning. So it's provided us now the opportunity to be a coach, an online coach to them on what it is to do online videos, live streaming, and just being able to help them to make effective content creation. So that's what online coach comes in. And then video consulting, I've been fortunate enough to work with small businesses, faith-based communities in the churches, and one-on-one with individuals who want to learn how to better use video conferencing.
Got you.
Whether if it's Zoom, whether if it's Microsoft Teams, because a lot of people who are being interviewed today now, they're no longer as much as face-to-face. They're virtual interviews. And so a lot of individuals need that consulting, that coaching on how to use video conferencing.
Makes sense. And I love the fact that you keep everything that you're doing seemingly in perspective, right? You understand that there's a greater power, there's a greater good. Yeah, what we're doing matters, but it doesn't matter as much as having that foundation, having that framework, knowing that you are a very spiritual man, a very, very man who's focused on the end goal and not just some of these intermediary steps. So, I mean, I think that talks to your character as well. So clients and folks that engage with you should definitely know that and be aware that, like, you are a man of truth, man of faith, and a man who, if you're going to sign on the dotted line for a contract, or you ask Walter Strong to do something, it's going to be done with the highest level of quality and consistency. So I've seen that in the shows that you've had and the streams that you've had. And the fact that you've brought on a lot of folks from different genres and different focuses as well. Talk to us a little bit about, how you reached out to some of those folks. You've talked to folks who have 100,000 subscribers on their channels, and they're gamers, they're influencers in some type of form or fashion. They do technology reviews, they do photography, X, Y, and Z, and all these different things. How are you making those connections? How are you making that network? How are you growing that network to quite frankly, have a relatively young digital presence, right? Your channel is still relatively young. So you're reaching out there to some of the different echelons of folks. And I'd love to hear kind of your story on that.
Sure. No, that's a great question. And so what I've been honored and humbled to be able to do, to reach out individuals like yourself or other individuals that have 100,000 subscribers and over 1 billion views, to be able to present a brand and the message that gives them the platform to be able to shine. I believe the power of collaboration, and again, still being young in this, what I'm starting to see, when individuals want to collaborate with someone, they approach it from the standpoint of, I want to grow my audience and what I get something out of it. And I'm quite sure you've probably had those offers where someone invites you over to be on their platform, but you can kind of sense that there's an agenda where it's something in it for them and not so much for you and your audience. And so I said, you know what, especially as a new YouTuber and having a small channel, you can't approach people that way. You have to be able to present it in such a way where, hey, look, I want to provide a platform where you to shine. Oh, I see you have a new book. Great. I want to provide this platform where your book can be displayed. We can talk about it, get you in front of as many as people that we can. And so that way it's bringing value to you as the author, or it's bringing value to you as the content creator. And as a result, now, um, the more you keep doing shows like that, then you have a track record where you can approach other individuals and they can consistently see that brand and that message. And then they have the replay to be able to say, oh, okay, a lot of his interviews have always been to help someone to shine.
Yeah.
When I approached one particular established YouTuber, he was a co-author of a book. And I said to him, quite frankly, I would like the opportunity to be able to put you in a light where your book can get more publicity. I know you have Amazon. I know you have multiple channels that you use, but I would like the opportunity to do that. And I have to give a shout out to Mr. Steve Worthy.
Shouts out to Worthy.
He did a video called Imposter Syndrome.
Yep.
And that resonated with me. And that gave me the courage to be able to come to that individual and say, can I interview? Because that inner battle in you says, there's no way they're going to say yes to me. I'm looking at my numbers. There's nothing that show, and so I had to learn to overcome that imposter syndrome, put on the table what I could offer. And he surprisingly said yes, came on the show, and it just gave me instant credibility. And he left with me saying, not only did I come on your show because of your great pitch, I want to be a part of your journey and your story. So when your channel blows up,
love that,
to over 600, 100,000 subscribers,
yeah,
I can look back on it and I can say I was there at the beginning. And it's again about presenting collaboration in a way of what you can get out of it.
That's cool. And I asked that question. It was kind of a setup, right? Because I wanted to hear kind of something like that come from you, right? And essentially what you're saying, and I'm gonna boil it down. You said get out of your own way,
yes,
right? And instead of and really the content creating and creation ecosystem, the folks that we engage with, the folks that we talk to, irregardless of the platform, right? Restream, StreamYard, Ecamm, BeLive, it doesn't matter what that piece is, but a lot of the communities are focused first and foremost on the community. There aren't a whole lot of people that are out there just out for me. It's mainly about we, and we're always pushing each other. We're always focused on, Walter, what can you do to get that much better? What can you do to level up just a little bit each and every time? And I've seen that again across a lot of the folks that I've talked to along this journey as well. So it's for some reason it's innate in us as humans or whatever the case may be, but that we think we're not good enough to reach out to some of these folks who have already gone through some pieces of this journey and have already crossed over, where in fact they don't know us, so they don't know who to reach out to. We see them because we see them, blowing up and having the high metrics and things of that nature. But they're high percentage of folks who again are in that quote unquote influencer or in that quote unquote established content creation strata are wanting to work with folks as they come up through this journey. And it sounds like you're seeing kind of the same thing as you embark on your journey.
And yes, definitely. But I also would add, especially when you're part of a great community that you're speaking about, I think it's also important to be able to, for me, part of my niche market and audience for my YouTube channel is to do interview collaborations. I think, and I got that from people like Don Lemon from CNN, watching how they interview, watching Joshua Johnson on MSNBC, other Black men of color.
Right.
Because before, we never really saw men of color to know how to do interview. It was primarily Oprah, right? Oprah was able to, on the East Coast at 4 p.m., be able to become everyone's best friend, and everyone would watch her. People watch. Not only do they do business with, but people watch who they like, they know, and they trust.
Yep.
And so when I begin to say, how can I take that same strategy and bring that as an interview content person, I felt it was like, okay, this is something that I have to present and make you shine as the person being interviewed. And as a result, the results will be able to show other people, say they will come. But my point was, I had to learn to cut my teeth. So I started doing that with family members.
Okay.
And one particular family member said to me, he says, "Did you ever go to college to journalism or broadcasting?" I said, "No. As a matter of fact, I went on business administration."
Yeah.
He said, "You clearly missed your major because you needed to be in journalism." And I'm thinking he's blowing smoke, right? Just kind of stroking my ego. And he says, "No, you have something here and you need to really work with it." But the imposter syndrome said to me, "Yeah, okay, cool." But then when that established YouTuber who I interviewed several months ago said the same thing that my family member said to me, I said, "Oh, I heard that over a year and a half ago."
Wow.
So sometimes you have to cut your teeth with family and friends, and don't worry about views or don't worry about who's watching the live stream. Develop the skill, develop your craft, develop your brand and your message. And when it's time for you to be put on Broadway,
You be ready.
you'll be ready.
I love it. See, and there it is right there, right? In terms of more at bats, the better you'll be, right? And the more
Yes.
time you spend in batting practice, the more time you spend watching film. I'm doing all these sports analogies, right? So you can
I love it. I love it.
I'm doing it for a purpose because I know you're a sports fan
Mm-hmm.
too. But again, that's why those professionals are professional and they do what they do and they make it look so seemingly easy because you're going to fall down. And
Mm-hmm.
you can get up either by yourself or you can get up with some assistance and hopefully you'll learn something. But the more times you are in front of a camera and something happens and it doesn't go the way you want it to go, the lights flicker and something doesn't happen, your
Mm-hmm.
stream drops. And I'm just using these content creation types of examples as because that's what we're talking about. How do you
Sure.
bounce back from that, right? And how do
Mm-hmm.
you learn from that? How do you maybe do that pre-live tech check to make sure your system's been rebooted, your cache is clear, all of that stuff. You have no distractions going, no notifications. I mean, just those little things. Those are those incremental improvements in your production that raise that bar and raise that level. Along that path, the question that I wanted to ask you were a few best practices, right? And a few best practices that you think that you can offer to folks looking to get into content creation, live streaming, and audio creation as well, podcasting. Right, podcasting is
Sure.
incredibly huge. It's been for a long time, and having a new life now.
Okay. I think tip number one would be have clarity on what you're looking to accomplish to do. Have clarity on terms of what you want your podcast show to be about. Have clarity about what you want your live stream to be about, or have clarity about the platform, what you want to use to be about. And once you have clarity about that, in terms of also in terms of who the audience you want to reach, have clarity about how you want to go about reaching them. Now, you may not have all the skills and the abilities yet, but the clarity and it ties always back, I believe, to purpose. You hear a lot of people in the YouTube genre say, make your first crappy 100 videos, and then through repetition you get better. That's true. But if I never really have clarity on why I'm doing this, somewhere in the journey you can get frustrated, and then you're going to end up wanting to give up, or you'll allow yourself to get burnt out and you'll walk away. So clarity would be tip number one. Tip number two would be have consistency. Just continue to be consistent in learning your craft. Using a sports analogy, I would go back to the late Kobe Bryant and how he talked about getting up at 3, 4 in the morning,
Right.
and he just practiced. He practiced. That, like you said, getting in front of the camera, getting confident, learning to do live streams and checking your audio and taking tips from, I think when I had the privilege of you being on, and you raised a great tip about Wi-Fi versus being hard connected.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I didn't know that played a major part in the stream, but to hear you say that, it then brought clarity to say, man, he's on to something, and this is something I got to invest in and fix, getting better at 1%. And I believe the late great Kobe Bryant thought the same way in terms of improving his game, where he talked about how he was being hard foul and it kind of prevented him from being able to get his shot. But what did he do? He practiced over and over being hard fouled.
Yeah.
And to the point it allowed him to rise up and to drain his shot. And you got to do the same thing as a country. Clarity, consistency, and then tip number 3, just have the courage to push past those tough times when you want to quit.
I love that.
To have the courage to push through it.
That especially that last one goes back to the whole statement of get out of our own way, right? Have that courage. Mm-hmm. There's no one is looking at you in a negative light. Honestly, there is so much more encouragement, and I don't know if that's a blessing of this past 15 months or so, right? When the world had to stop, right? We've become more cognizant and aware of our fellow human being and our fellow neighbor, and more. Even I've become more caring of folks, right? I mean, and again, I think it's because we now. I'm recording. I probably shouldn't be saying that, but you know, I got more sensitive, little more. Not gonna say not soft, but a little more aware of the needs of folks around. And again, I'll say if there's any blessing of the 15 months that we had to stop and we had to pause and we had to really. There was value in reaching out to your friend, your neighbor, your family, and things like that, just to check in and make sure that they were all right. And I think that whole mentality has reverberated into our professions and to our passion projects as well. I want to see Walter do good. Walter wants to see Dana do well. Shouts out to you, Dana. I see you in the stream here, man. That's a good dude too. Do you know Dana Lowry? And look,
no, I don't. I would love the privilege.
I tell you what, put a fishing pole in his hand.
Okay,
that's a good man. But you know, those types of things, right? We're looking out for each other. We haven't physically met, right? You're on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast, but we have this engagement, we have these interactions, and we've gotten close in terms of shooting for the same goal. Not perfection, but greatness. Right. Yes. And we want to see each other succeed. We want to see each other thrive, either financially, either whatever the case may be, just growing your brand, growing your platform. But what I've heard from you, even in this conversation, has nothing really to do with you growing the brand, growing you financially. You're looking to grow your community. And see that. And again, I'm being very meticulous and very specific about the questions that I'm asking and what I'm listening for. Mm-hmm. Your goals are set right, in my opinion, right? Again, you're not doing any of this for you. You're doing it to better the folks that you touch and you engage with, right? You're looking to grow your community and make sure that they're successful, because then that reverberates it back and looks back on you and says, you know what, Walter Strong, through his online coaching and his video coaching and his purpose coaching, helped me get to this next level. So I wanted to give that shout out to you, man, just in terms of, again, the dialogue that we've been having thus far. And I know we've talked before, but just again, to hear it for folks that are listening and watching to catch that as well. Hopefully they understand what Dr. Walter Strong is up to. So.
Hey, I'm just humbled and honored just to be able to be an instrument to do it, you know, and I just, what came to mind as you was listening, when you talked about the last 15 months, I guess, like you said, a crisis, any type of crisis, but this particular crisis that we went through in the last 15 months has provided many seeds of opportunity of growth for all of us. It's just a matter of our perspective of how we see the crisis.
Love that. Yep.
If I see the crisis as something where I can't recover from, and, you know, look at most businesses, at least on the East Coast, and you could probably confirm on the West Coast, when businesses in the restaurant industry couldn't have the business that they were used to doing, they pivoted. They saw the crisis as an opportunity to say, we need to start doing more curbside business. Mm-hmm. We need to start doing more online business for deliveries. They pivoted, so they saw the crisis as a way to pivot their business. And so as content creators, whether podcasters, live streams, or doing online video, we have to kind of look at our crisis and say, okay, I'm not getting the amount of views that I want. I'm not getting the amount of subscribers that this crisis now is giving me a seed of opportunity for growth.
Okay.
Wow. I haven't looked at my YouTube analytics in over a year. Maybe I need to go into my YouTube or your podcasting analytics,
right,
and look and there's the opportunity for growth for you to change.
Yeah, because if you don't and you just continue to do the same thing and you think, it may have been successful before in the past, but what's good then may not be good now. And even if you're doing it as a passion project or a hobby, side hustle, whatever, and not as your primary occupation, you got to know what's going on. You got to know how many people are watching for how long, where they're coming from, where they're dropping off. I mean, again, just these are the kinds of things that, again, bringing it back to a content creation journey. But you can put this into any field of study, any occupation as well. If you're not aware of the data, if you know, there used to be a show on ESPN called Numbers Don't Lie, right? And if you don't if you don't know the numbers of what's going on, I don't know how you're gonna improve and how you're gonna get better and how you're gonna make sure, again, back to community, how you serve that community who may be paying you, maybe subscribing to you either through like Patreon or sponsorships or Buy Me a Coffee, whatever those may be. If folks are actually sending you $20 a month or something, they want something specific from you. And if you stop giving that to them and you decide, I want to go this direction because this is what I want to do, then you may lose something, and you may lose out on that blessing, and you may lose out on some your subscriber base, your fan base, and your community, and you don't know what why. So that's a good point. Right. I like the fact that you brought that up. Let me ask you this again, going down these same paths. What's been the biggest hurdle, I guess, that you've had to overcome for your content creation journey?
I think the biggest hurdle that I'm still learning to overcome, because there are times that I believe sometimes a test has to be retaken over, especially if you score it low. So maybe you got 60% on the test and you got to go take the test again. You take 70. So sometimes there are some tests or hurdles you have to retake. And so what I am learning is to learn how to be more patient with myself, because my expectations of me wanting to see things blow up and to have these grand numbers of metrics of views and subscribers, those things will come in time. But sometimes I lose sight of that, and I end up having a pity party, and the pity party ends up lasting a lot longer than what it should. Walter Bond, a motivational speaker, says your pity party shouldn't be no more than 3 days. I believe my pity party shouldn't be more than 1 day, and so that's one hurdle I'm learning to overcome.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. Right, like I say, you fall down, get back up. Don't wallow in it. Right, rub some dirt on it. Man, I'm throwing all these sports analogies. I mean, that's an old baseball analogy right there. Just rub some dirt on it, and you'll be all right. Look, I got another question for you, but look, we keep talking sports. Talk to me about your Knicks, the New York Knicks. First place right now, right now.
Yes, sir.
But
right now.
See, because I know that's a big part. I know that's a big part of your life as well. So yeah,
right. Celebrate small successes, and you know what? The Knicks are starting to understand that you need to have great management.
Yeah.
To be able to be a successful team again. I think the Knicks really lost sight of that years and decades ago, and they didn't value the importance of great management. I think shout out to your Los Angeles Lakers.
Now, see, hold on, you don't have to do that.
No. But here's my thing: what has made the Lakers such a story franchise? Successful management. Jerry West, Mitch Kupchak. Those were the days where your Kobe's and your Shaqs and you guys were winning. But when the Lakers got away from that, and I believe it was Jeannie Buss' brother who was running the Lakers, clearly he wasn't the type of management that the Lakers needed, and it manifested in its product and on the court. The minute Jeannie said, I need to get Rob Pelinka in here, I need to move the figurehead Mr. Popularity, Magic Johnson, out of the way and let Rob run the show, you guys won again. And I think the Knicks are starting to see that. And having a coach like Tom Thibodeau, players now want to come to New York. And now in these small few games they've won, we're looking at first place. It's a long season, but the management is in place. Golden State is another example of having good management. And taking that back to as a content creation, being a solo content creator can only get us so far. There eventually comes a time where we need to link up with good management, good coaching from others. I can only be good as a coach unless I'm willing to let someone pour back into me. And that means taking a hit on my pride to do that, to be able to sit at your feet and say, well, I know we talked offline about PC versus Mac, but here, let me really lay it out for you. When you look at the landscape of content creation, how Mac and Apple is playing a major role in content creators being successful versus in the PC world.
Yeah.
I got to be willing to take that type of coaching from you.
At least hear it, right? At least not have that barrier and that wall up to not be open to different views. And it's crazy. It's almost like we're in the same wavelength, because that was the question that I told you behind the scenes that I was going to throw to you. And I wanted to get the pivot from the sports analogy into content creation, right? And how kind of that falls into our frame of focus as well. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. Wait a minute, ladies and gentlemen. We got the queen in the building. Which shirt am I wearing? Oh, I'm not wearing her shirt. How you doing, Miss Diana Gladney? I was just listening to your podcast last night. Let me make sure I'm talking about the right things here. I was watching her working on her book at like midnight last night, and for some reason I was up too. But let's get back into them and let's get focused. So again, those big hurdles, right, that you've seen, that you've been able to overcome, and the fact that you've utilized your community, you've utilized just, again, being able to be receptive to information that, again, you've probably gone for many years down one particular path, but hearing varying views. Why is that so difficult, though, for folks to, again, and I keep going back to this, getting out of our own way? Why is it so difficult for folks to see someone who is being successful, someone who is actually trying to talk to us about how to progress and proceed and move forward ourselves? Why does it take so long for someone? I'll use me as an example. Why would it take me so long to take that knowledge, take that insight, that information from you or from a Diana Gladney, or for someone to say, I need to implement that into my workflow, into my work stream, into what I'm doing as well? Why do we do that to ourselves? Why do we limit ourselves so much?
Well, and I'll use a personal experience of my own. When I used to be in the hip hop industry as a rap artist, I was very passionate in wanting to be a successful rap artist. Ended up making my first rap record, but I made the mistake a lot of young rappers and R&B artists do. We don't read our contract, and so as a result, I lost the rights to my song because I failed to read my contract or get an attorney to help me read my contract. So now, because I've been burned, I carry that baggage on years on, and now I'm presented and I meet someone like yourself or Miss Diana Gladney, and she says, hey, look, I really, you have a lot of great potential. I want to work with you. But because I got burned in the past, that now is coming up, and it's causing me to not pivot and not change because of my past mistakes that I made for myself and not reading a contract. And I'm treating someone like you or Diana or someone else in the industry because of me being burned. And I think that's one particular reason. And again, that's why I said sometimes you have to take test over because you just didn't score. Think about it. If you have children and they bring a 70, you're not happy with that 70. You're like, I'm glad you got the 70, but now you need to get 85. I'm glad you got 85, but I need now 95. Or better.
That's what and that's, I think, what I really want to make sure that kind of conveys from this conversation, folks. We really are a community of folks looking to better each other, right? At the end of the day, it's about building each other up and each one standing on each other's shoulders, and again, getting out of your own way and being receptive to constructive feedback, criticism, debate, if you need to have that as well. And I mean, Walter, just watching your channel grow and watching again the conversations that you've had with varying people of whatever levels of creation, again, either audio or video, whatever the case may be. It's been a great story to watch. It's been a great journey to see, and I know it's going to continue to grow over the future. Let me ask you this though: what's next for you,
Yes.
man? And kind of where can people kind of stay in touch with you? And I've seen some folks have already subscribed to your channel here, but what's next for the Huddle?
What's next for the Huddle is continuing to do the live streams and to be able to interview great individuals like yourself, or I'll use, Mama Eileen Smith or Diana Gladney, to be able to provide a platform for them so that what they're doing can shine. I'm just the vehicle and the vessel that does that, and I'm looking to get into podcasting, and then finally, I think we've talked offline, developing an online course
Definitely.
and I really develop an online course on the power of collaboration,
Mm-hmm.
how you can grow and add value to someone else's audience, not your own audience, but and I think that comes from the principle of Jesus. If I can just take from a scripture standpoint, Jesus said, "I didn't come to be ministered to;
Hmm.
I came so I can minister to others," and that's the principle that I try to live my life by. How can I add value to others through the Huddle and through my YouTube channel, by adding value to you as a person that comes on, and even my viewers who watch?
Folks, you hear the content of the character of this man right here, and we breaking it down. Hopefully you soaked in some of the statements and some of the comments that we've brought out to you. I want to be cognizant of your time, because I know, speaking of church, I know you got to go get to the sanctuary tonight and do some things for the pastor. But at the end of the day, let me ask you one thing, because I'm a
Yes, sir.
technologist by education and trade, and I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, what's your go-to piece of technology? What is it that you have in your toolbox, in your arsenal, that you take advantage of every single day? Hardware, software, or service that you can share with us?
That's a great question. I guess my go-to technology is being able to, especially when you're starting out, master your smartphone or iPhone or
You
Android.
spend $1,000
As
for it, you might as well try to master it, right?
Right, because it's amazing how our children,
Mm.
you put them as young as 3. I have a nephew who's like 4 years old, and he's a master at the iPad. It seems like our children, but when we become adults, we get this anti-Apple thing. I hope I'm not stepping on anyone else's toe but myself. But as
Don't be
adults,
afraid of what happens in infinite loop, right? Don't be afraid of Apple,
right,
brother. I gave him 10 years of my
right,
life. Don't be afraid of it.
exactly. But master, your smartphone,
Mm.
because we have it connected to us all the time. And
True.
at least here on the East Coast, and people are walking in the streets, not paying attention, and they're on their phone, texting and stuff, driving. Master it in such a way where it can be able to bring revenue and income in for you.
I love that, right? Because you're right, right? A lot of us, I shouldn't, but yeah, we go before we close our eyes at bed, right? We're looking at our phone. I'm trying to get to a point where I'm actually setting up my tasks for the next day, right? So
Okay.
I'm trying to get to a conscious point where I have 3 tasks that I want to make sure that I accomplish early in the day, the very next day. I don't know if Diana's still listening. I know she was doing the Pomodoro technique and method last night while she was writing her book. I'm more of the eat the frog type of person, which is another
Okay.
productivity type of tool, where tackle that big thing first early in the day
Okay.
and knock that out, and then that's the big win, and then work off of that. So I've got my 3 tasks that I try to make sure that I write down before I close my eyes for the night, and tackle those early in the day. And again, I'm always on the phone writing down those notes, or I'm talking into my watch to take down that dictation as well. And use this technology that we have, right? I mean, no one uses their phone for making phone calls anymore. It's all about taking pictures and taking video. So
Right.
look at that application ecosystem, and find some productivity tools in there, and take advantage of that, and just level up your life a little bit, right?
Exactly. And especially if you're a small YouTuber or a small video content creator who's trying to grow,
Mm,
I had to really challenge myself and said, how much content am I consuming versus making?
wow.
And most of the time I'm consuming content through this phone. I'm scrolling and I'm looking at it,
Mm,
and the content instead of me watching. And again, I want to give another shout out to Mr. Steve Worthy. I was sharing with him a problem that I had with trying to be able to find an editor, and I thought I found me a good one, but ultimately I realized we were not a good fit, and I was kind of discouraged about it because I was like, man, okay, my views are not in. He said, go look at Diana Gladney's channel. She has some vlogs on her journey of how she goes to hire the right people.
yeah.
And so when I went to Detroit traveling, that's what I was watching. So if you're going to be on your phone, do it in such a way where it's bringing either growth to you as a creator or it's going to bring income to your business. That would be my go-to technology.
I love it. I love it. And I have tagged you to be part of the digital collective forum that I've mentioned. And, those are the types of things that I really want to focus on, right? Content creators, minority content creators and women content creators, right? Access to resources, access to information, having a community, having a place and a forum to dialogue. So I'm still tapping you on the shoulder to where we can have that conversation and start building out some of that collateral for folks. And again, primarily for everyone, but primarily focused on, again, minorities and women, because we're less represented and tend to get in our way and not
Right.
reach out for assistance and not reach out for help. Want to break down that stereotype, want to break down those barriers and those walls. So, listen, man, that being said, let's go ahead and get you to where you need to be. Walter, I appreciate you for taking the time, sir. It's been an amazing conversation. I'm glad folks were able to hear your story, subscribe to your channel, and find out exactly what it is that you're doing, you're talking about. I'm going to put the links to all of your social media locations. I've got your Twitter feed, your YouTube channel, and your website as well. I'll make sure those are in the description after we publish this. But man, other than that, again, thank you very much for your time. And sir, be well. Take care of yourself, huh?
You as well, sir.
Go next,
Have a
right?
great one. I see you trying to get me out there. Then 3 games from now, we'll be in third place. Just continue to play Knicks. We'll say go Knicks when we get some more games under our belt.
All right, brother. Be good to yourself. We out.
All right. God bless.